Hello, we are live back again with the She Is Me conference special event, A Gathering of Healers. And right now, we're so honored to be joined by Amanda Smith. She is a grid worker, light worker, and she is the owner and founder of the Activated Earth. Amanda, thanks so much for joining us today. I can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm happy to be here. I'm really excited to tell my story. All right. I am, in addition to being the owner of the, I am now owner of a regenerative farm and nature land, spiritual nature land retreat center that I call the Mothership, and it is in Eastern Kentucky. And this is what I want to talk about today. This is my story about how the mothership was birthed. And it really started, I want to say, about 20 years ago, even a little bit longer ago than that. I can remember tucking my kids in at night when they were little, and they are now both in their 30s. Okay. They're one's 33 and the other one, and the other one's 32. So this was quite some time ago. I can remember tucking them in at night and thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, I feel like I need to know how to survive, how to live without uh, the kinds of resource systems that we have in place right now. So, and when I say resource systems, I mean things like our food system, our energy system, anything that we use that gets trucked, moved, hauled, transformed, even if it's electricity, whatever power goods that we need to just to take care of ourselves. I was thinking, I really need to know how to do stuff and not need those systems. So that was like the first thing. And the first inkling that came into my awareness. And I was about the age that my kids are right now when I started to think those things. And then later on, I went from being, a scientist at an environmental lab to working on my own as a massage therapist, and it was rough. That there wasn't really any money in it for me. I wasn't making hardly any money, and I can remember, driving down the road, heading back to my house for the evening and thinking, the people are talking about precious metals being the next currency. And I'm like, nope, that's not it. That's not the next currency. The next most important currency is food. Food is the currency that is going to become the most important thing. And I was thinking, I need land. I need land. Here I was making $20,000 a year and going, how am I going to make land happen? How does that happen? And those those were my thoughts, and I started to obsess on that thought of having land, and I wanted land, and I told myself I couldn't get land, that there was no way for me to get land. And I went into what I am calling the learning years. So I spent, like 20 years learning stuff. I learned as a massage therapist, I learned about how to sense, the energy coming off of a person. And I used that to become an energy worker, a light worker, and I worked for people. And as I continued working with people, I began to realize that there's a lot of people out there that they want to hear you facilitate and read for them, read what's in their energy without changing anything. And it made me tired to do that. I did it, but then I realized this is making me tired. And even working as a massage therapist began to make me tired because there's just so much nurturing that you give to another person. And um, I started to look at ways to, support myself in some other way. And that's when I went back to science. I gained a lot from being a massage therapist. It's super important that that is part of my learning years because it opened me up to the energy work, to the idea that anything was possible, that I could change the the expression of my body, as far as health, that I could change that. And then I just, wanted to earn some money. And I opened my own laboratory, and that provided stability for me and money, and it really took off. And during that time, what happened was I was able to, with that money, pursue these other things that I became interested in. And I spent time taking permaculture design courses, which is a system of design that's generally been used for foods and farming. Um, but it's based on the three precepts of people care, earth care, and fair share. And what that means is we take care of the people, we take care of the earth, and when we have extra, we give back. So we give back to those who are in need. And I did three of those design courses. And then I did all of this further education in soil microbiology. I discovered all these cool things. I never stopped reading a book. I spent so many years learning. And it wasn't until I reached this point in my life that I realized that I was learning things that I needed to know to be that person who doesn't need these systems and the systems, the resource systems that I spoke about a few minutes ago. So sometimes when we achieve our dream, we think to ourselves, I should have done that sooner. I wish I'd done this sooner. I mean, because here I am now, 55, and why didn't I get that taken care of when I was 33? You know, I had things to learn. I've learned so much. I've learned so much. And in addition to the science that I have learned, and how to work with the earth instead of against her, I've learned I've learned how to follow the energy and to create for myself. So never ever regret the years that it took or has taken, or if you're still in them, don't regret them. You are getting everything that you need right now for the thing that you want to create. And I have a big dream, and sometimes a big dream takes a whole lot longer to lay a foundation. But what gets to happen now, because I have my 25 acres of space in eastern Kentucky, is that goes on to my children and my grandchildren. I currently have three grandsons. It's awesome to be the grandmother of boys because I get to put them to work on the farm now. They're going to grow up being farmers. And some of them might end up with Kentucky accents. That would be kind of cool. So don't regret that time. It doesn't matter how long it takes, because where I am right now is now my family gets to move forward with this dream, and we are doing it together. So as you pursue your dream, those who are meant to help you will arrive. And mine were already here. I just didn't know it. I didn't know it. So just because you don't know it doesn't mean it's not there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So take the leap. If you have a dream, take the leap. One of my mentors had this thing that she used to say that it wasn't even hers. She said she got it from somewhere else. But it's a very wise thing. When you get to the edge, don't think, jump. When you get to the edge, don't think, jump. Just do it. I like to call it a Butch and Sundance moment. Some of you may know that scene in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid where they get to the edge, they're being chased by the lawmen, and they get to this bluff, and below it is this river. And Sundance says to Butch, he goes, I can't swim. And Butch says to Sundance, well, hell, the fall will probably kill you. Might as well do it. But the funny thing is the fall didn't kill them. And I know it's a movie, but we'll get to that later. Life is a movie. So just trust. They trusted in that moment. There was nowhere else to go. They got to the edge. They didn't think, they jumped. So I encourage you to jump, because when you do that, you are following your joy, you're following your bliss, you're following love, which is the truth of what the oneness is, as we are all one, the universe. Love is the truth. So when you treat yourself as if you are deserving of love and follow your heart, because your heart is your doorway to the oneness, then you create with ease. And I had gotten to the point where I was so uncomfortable with what I was doing that I was like, well, hell, the fall will probably kill me. Might as well do it. I don't like where I am. So I jumped. I found this place in Kentucky, and I was like, wow, this place is great. And I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. And I just decided, okay, let's find out. What would it take? So we looked at the place. We did a virtual tour. The real estate agent who showed us the place said he would be my realtor. And he told me that the person who listed it didn't have his own realtor, and he had listed it incorrectly on Zillow, so he wasn't getting any hits on it. So he kept lowering the price. So we put in an offer, and it was accepted the same day. And then from there, things got complicated. So because he didn't have a realtor, the seller didn't have a realtor, there were things he didn't know that he needed to do for the place. And without, boring you too much with all of the details, everything fell through at the last minute. And then my daughter called me and she said, Mom, let's try again. Let's ask Justin, our realtor. Let's ask Justin to reapproach our seller and see if there's some other way that we can make this work. She's like, I had a dream about it. And I'm like, oh, we've had a dream that we must do this. So we did it. I said, okay, I'm driving. Why don't you contact Justin? So she did. And long story short, we closed on December 3rd because we were willing, both myself and the seller, we were both willing to get creative around everything so that it would work out. So what was happening was that things were not properly surveyed. And what we ended up doing was forgetting about the part that it didn't have a survey. And he sold me a whole different piece of property so that I would have about the same acreage that I was expecting. And he had 2 surveyed parcels, and he's like, well, we can just forget about that and I'll throw this other one in. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And from that point, it worked out. And I am so ready. I'm so ready to be there that I gave notice on my rental. I have to be out in January. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know when I get to move. I have a business that I need to sell. I have no buyers. So, I have one person that I am working with right now who I think that, this could work out with her. She's somebody that helped me open my place, which I'm at right now, my environmental laboratory in San Luis Obispo, California. She helped me open it. And when I called her, she said, I was just feeling so depressed and unhappy and wondering what to do with my life. And then you called. So these are the breadcrumbs that you get to pay attention to. You get to pay attention to those things and follow the flow. Other people are telling me they don't have the money, they have emergencies happening, they are short-staffed, they can't take on another lab, and these are the other labs that I've been talking to. So we're in what I would call a bad time to sell a business, but not for me. And it doesn't have to be that way for you either. So the idea is to realize that we are one, we are infinite, we are infinite. So the infinite doesn't need to experience pain and suffering and lack and victimhood. That's not what the infinite is, or the true essence of who we are and where we create from is the oneness, the infinite, the universe. I've taken to calling it the infinite these days because it's the stillness, it's the being. All this other stuff around us is a construct. It's our thought construct. So when we are in the infinite and in the being, that's where we create. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to use your hands to pick up the cup and move it. It will happen. It will happen. So when I did the purchase for my property, I had all these people supporting me. They made it happen. And I didn't have to worry about all these details. I had all these people supporting me and taking care of the things I didn't know how to do. And it just, if you approach life from a place where you have an expectation, even though people say don't have expectations, there's some truth to that, and there's some not truth to it as well. If you expect that good things are going to happen to you, that you perceive things as positive, as that things just have a way of working out, then that's what happens for you, because we live in a thought construct. So this is where I'm going with what I want to speak about today for why I took this leap. I reached a point where I felt like I was living life in a place of lack and victimhood. And this is not uncommon. Just take a look at how you speak, what kinds of words you use, where you're giving away your power to a situation, to other people, to the general, like everything that's happening right now. So I could approach this of, oh, there's no way I can make this happen right now. I'm not going to be able to get a loan. I had people here in California telling me I couldn't get a loan, that I wouldn't be able to get a loan because I'm a business owner. I'm self-employed. And 2020, when I was trying to get a loan here, it was horrible. I had a loss at my business for the same reason everybody else did. Everything shut down and dribbled out for a while. It came back, but I had a loss on my business. They're like, 2 years of what your profits are, and there was no way around it. They were telling me I wasn't loanable, but I was. I got my loan. And this is what I want to encourage you to do. And this might be challenging for some of us here, but all of the systems that are here, including the energetic systems, that we look at, like the Earth's toroidal field, the quantum field, the angelic realm, the guides, these are all thought constructs. They're here because we've thought them into being. So we see what we expect to see because we've already decided what it is, and we've been trained this way. And we are in this eternal loop of energy that is, what some people call the matrix. So even though it's higher vibrational, to be, in touch with the angelic realm, to use that realm to create, it's still the matrix. It's the oneness that is the ultimate. That's the ultimate. And here's where it comes from, where we have these remembrances of other lifetimes, that feeling that you used to be somebody else, like you really identify from history, and you're like, yeah, I used to be Queen Elizabeth. I've had that thought. The first, obviously not the second. She's still here. So those things happen because that the energy of what we are creating here is caught. It's caught in this matrix, but it's not the oneness. It's not the oneness. So I had this dream a couple of years ago where I was on this jungle gym kind of thing, except you couldn't climb down off of it. And I wanted to get down, and it was above the ground. It was like it was floating over the ground. And I thought, okay, I don't want to just drop because that's going to hurt my feet. So I'll fly. So I thought, okay, I'm going to fly. So I let go and started to fly, except I didn't drop to the earth. I didn't fly down to the earth. Something picked me up and carried me through the atmosphere so far out into the universe, which is also a thought construct, that I passed into another realm. I went through a barrier, I passed into another realm, and then another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, until I reached this void. And inside the void, I could feel everything. Everything, everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. Everything that we can imagine and can't even imagine. And I still felt my individuality. But then I heard my voice say, we are one. But it came out sounding like a bazillion voices, like the Borg from Star Trek. And that is the reality. That's what's real. The rest of this is something we've created. We created this. We can choose it to be something else. If enough of us decide to inject love into this matrix, love is what will be here. If we decide to let go of victimhood and take sovereign responsibility, what we have here will be freedom for every human being. And it is that freedom for every human being that is, I believe, necessary for humanity to survive. So what that means is we are one. Stop with the divisiveness. No religious, political, socio-economical divisiveness. We don't have to fight with each other. We are one. And it's from that place, that void that I'm talking about, from that dream where we get to create. And that doesn't have a vibration. It's stillness. It's the being. What do we want to be? Do we want to be in fear over whatever is happening right now? Doesn't matter, what your belief is. There's fear happening all over the place. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are around. Is it great to be a left winger or a right winger? There's fear involved in that, because that, with that example, you're afraid of the right's afraid of the left's afraid of the right. So, but we are one. And I really want to encourage you all to, yeah, keep your guides, keep your angels. I definitely, I love that space that's in our energy. But the closer we come down into earth and into the physical, the less positive it is. And The oneness can travel through that, or you can go straight to it. And how do you get there? You get there in your heart. So I think what I'm going to do right now, I didn't know I was going to do this. I think what I'm going to do right now is we're going to do a little heart meditation. And we are going to go into our heart and just experience being in the stillness. So just go ahead and I'm going to close my eyes. Just go ahead and get comfortable and close your eyes and just begin to breathe. And as you breathe, bring your awareness to your heart center. And we're going to begin with opening the back door to your heart, because that's where the energy comes in, or the stillness. That's where the stillness comes in. So see the back of your heart, find the door, find the portal, and open it. And allow in the stillness, the infinite. And as that moves into your heart and fills it, open the front door to your heart, because this is where you bring this into this realm that we exist in, this physical realm that we are in. You get to bring that infinite oneness into this matrix, into this energy that is here. And now you're going to take yourself, your human self, into your heart center. So see yourself in your heart center. You have your physical heart. This is where we are right now. As you look around, you notice that there is another door, a portal into your high heart, the place where you get to hold all that is, the infinite. Go ahead and move into that space right now, and it gets to look however you want it to look. It gets to be whatever you'd like it to be. Maybe it's just a feeling, maybe it's just a color. And from in here, you get to feel what it's like to be part of everything, to be everything. We are the oneness. What does that mean? The oneness doesn't have to experience pain, suffering, karma, lack, victimhood, fear. Why would it? It's everything. It's the being. This is what we get to be. And in here is simply love. Everything is in here. Everything is here. You can always have everything by moving into your heart. There is peace, balance, love, and joy. If you think that you can't trust, that you're not being taken care of, that you don't know what is going to happen to you next, with trust, this is where you come to your high heart. Okay, I'd like us all, I know this is short, but I'd like us all to come back out. It's a very simple process, very simple. And spending time in here is good for you, good for you mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Let's come back out, drop back down into your physical heart and bring your awareness back to your body and open your eyes. And what I really want to leave you all with is the knowledge that if we change how we view everything, if we change how we feel about things, the world will shift. If we realize how powerful we are and how good we are, the world will shift. And I just want to leave you with this one last example of how that can work. During the summer, I engaged in visualizations with my group on Facebook for rain for California. We haven't had snowpack. We haven't had a decent rain. And without the snowpack, we don't have anything coming through our watersheds in the summertime. Our delta, the Sacramento Delta area, not being fed. And what happened? We asked for storms to come that wouldn't overwhelm, but would be more than what we needed, but wouldn't overwhelm the earth or the people. And to imagine it raining everywhere and snowing and creating snowpack. And this is what happened. There is magic in just being in the seeing and the knowing of what we can create. And we had an awesome rain event. And I know now it's time to meditate for another one. And that is working in the quantum, which is part of the matrix. However, we get to inject that matrix with goodness. What's here right now, as I've already stated, is fear, hate, divisiveness. We get to inject it with goodness. So when you are going about your day, just send love. Send love to yourself. Send love to the people around you. Put love into our quantum field and then trust it. Oh, one more thing. One more thing on how this works. When I came home from Kentucky, I was driving between storms. And I drove through the snow flurry in the dark over a mountain. And I made it out, and I thought, I don't want to do that again. And I knew that it was going to snow. It was supposed to snow in Flagstaff when I drove through there. So I called my mom and my sister, and I'm like, we need to visualize this to be free and clear. We need to visualize it so that I don't have to drive in any more snow. And we did. And what happened was the clouds began to open up above me immediately. And the further I got down the road, the wider the swath of blue became. And by the time I got to Flagstaff, it was so huge. There was a giant open circle of sky over Flagstaff. Behind me, things closed up. The clouds closed back in. And now, of course, moisture is going to hang on the mountains. But even as I went over the mountains, it did not snow on me. It sprinkled a little bit. And as I crossed through it, I could see the thin spots and the blue, showing through, and the light coming in through it. And then when I got to the other side and came down in elevation, it was completely, just patchy clouds. And it stayed that way. It even happened again. That even happened again when I got into the Central Valley of California. I came over the Tehachapis and dropped down into Bakersfield, and giant circle of blue sky above me. So I want you all to remember how powerful you are and what you can create. And as I have no place to live after January 31st, and no seller, I'm the seller, no buyer for my lab as of yet, doesn't mean it's not here just because I can't see it. I know it. I know it's here. I know it. And because I know it, it is. And that is all you have to do to create. That's it. It's simple. So simple. So there you have it. That's my story. And it's when I became aware that it's simple, I felt comfortable taking the leap that I took. And the further I go down this path, the more everything's going to open up and be easy for me. So creating the blue sky over me, with the help of my mom and my sister, there's synergy. There is synergy that happens. But that's also a thought construct. So you can see how much you can play with this, right? So we are everything. We are the infinite. It's only that I feel like I need help, which means I need help. So I could have done it by myself, but I was a little too focused on the road, and having them there to help me really created. So just remember, everything here that you see, don't fool yourself. It is not fear, lack, and pain and suffering that's real. It's not. It's love. It's ease. It's grace. It's sovereignty. Okay? So, blessings to all of you. And I have really enjoyed sharing this message with you. And I get to be surprised around, how for me it unfolds, that I get to make the transition to living in Kentucky and running my farm and my retreat center. So thank you so much for being with me here today. And thank you, Lisa, for giving me this opportunity. And I'm just beyond grateful for everything that is happening for me right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much. I did the meditation with you. It was fantastic. I love that. I always love your meditations. Thank you so much for joining us today. And remember the Activated Earth. Follow Amanda on social media, and you can follow her journey with the mothership. And you can also find out how to contribute to help make the mothership come into being. And I believe, are you still going to do the tree planting?
We will do that, or maybe create a calendar.
Okay.
That's what my assistant and I are talking about, ways to acknowledge the people that have contributed. And I would love to be able to plant a fruit tree for people, but I will reach a point in time where there won't be any more space for fruit trees.
Right, right, right.
So we're
So
thinking about the ways.
So, just so you know, if you contribute to making the mothership happen or helping the mothership happen, then you will be acknowledged somehow by Amanda
Yeah,
Smith and the Activated Earth. So, thank you again, Amanda. Stay on with me because we'll catch up as soon as we're done live broadcasting. Thank you,
thank you.
everyone. We'll be back in about 20 minutes with Larkin Cell, and so stay tuned. Thank you.